Yeah, you know, my uncle was the senior project engineer that worked to design that, the
Oh,
lunar
wow.
module.
Mm-hmm.
His company was Grumman, became Northrop Grumman. He's very supportive by. He's still living. He's in his late 80s, and he's very supportive of what we're doing.
That's really great.
Yeah.
Did you say the other day that the actual, what we saw as the TV footage was not original?
There were parts of it that were, and then they cut. The NSA cut to already pre-filmed footage because when they looked around the crater, it was, quote, crowded with extraterrestrial vehicles, and that is true. I have this confirmation. And by the way, Neil Armstrong's relative that was at my talk day before yesterday, whatever, Sunday. Yeah, day before yesterday. Told me, yes, absolutely, that's the case. And Buzz Aldrin's sister told me the same. And I have multiple independent military people who have actually seen the actual footage. And there were multiple ET craft there when we landed. So people say we didn't go to the moon. We did. It's just that we didn't. They knew before we landed from the lunar orbiter imaging that there would be a lot of things there because they had already imaged the structures on the moon that predated. Some of them were very ancient, like on Mars, and they knew that there was a high likelihood, so they didn't want a real time. And there was a delay. And by the way, everything, you know, who talked about Saturn? It was very important who was talking about Saturn. God, I forgot all about this. Very important what you saw, because that is very, very key. There is a very large group out by Saturn. And when the Cassini probe that went out there that was imaging Saturn, you remember? When it was when they were downloading those images, Lockheed Martin had that contract, no surprise. I was called by a scientist there and said, there are some astonishing images of massive, and we're talking miles across, ET craft that are out by Saturn. But they're going through another filter. So the people who are in the non-classified areas of NASA, and certainly that were released to the public, would never see them. And they sanitized that. And that's what they did with the lunar orbiter pictures that picked up these things. So they knew, but if we landed on the moon, it was highly likely that something like that would happen, and they wanted to control it. So they already had some film footage ready to splice in, as it were. And so, and that's one of the reasons Neil Armstrong's become such a recluse. He doesn't, Buzz Aldrin had a nervous breakdown and became an alcoholic. It was terrible. And then he just dealt with it. And so he will publicly say, no, I didn't see anything. Neil Armstrong is just reclusive because he doesn't want to lie to the public. He's very ethical. But one of his very good friends, when I invited him to come to brief members of Congress and the White House back in '97, he told me that his wife and his children and his grandchildren would all be killed if he came public with that, and he was told that under no uncertain terms. So Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, these guys, have lived under this burden, but I know what they know, and then some. I mean, they saw just that one event, but it's very important to realize that they're there. But the Cassini probe filmed these massive, and it was more than one, but it went through the Lockheed Martin. And as Eisenhower warned us of, the military-industrial complex and these big defense contractors, that's where the action is. I mean, the President of the United States, as I've found from putting together the briefings for them, and the CIA director and these people mostly are not told, usually don't know. And if they are told anything, they're told a half-truth or what have you. So part of what we have to do is give them the full truth. But, so that's that.